So on Sunday, Victor Robles, a Mariners outfielder, after getting hit by a pitch in a minor league game against the A's, picked up his bat and threw it at the pitcher. So in this video, we're going to take a look at some comparable situations, and at the end of the video, try and guess what the suspension will be for Victor Robles. Johnny, what do you think about this situation?
So I've watched Victor Robles for a long time. He was a Nationals prospect. I'm a Nationals fan. He was a center fielder for the team that won the 2019 World Series. And Robles he's never had any big, issues like this before, but he always butted heads with manager Davey Martinez. Now, Davey Martinez loved to throw him under the bus too, but there were issues in the clubhouse, not like big issues, but small issues in the clubhouse with him and the manager in terms of hustle, things like that. And last season, the Nationals cut him, and he was picked up by the Mariners. And as soon as he goes to the Mariners, starts hitting amazing. Has a great second half of the season. As soon as he gets out of Davey Martinez under his thumb, he starts playing great. This year started off, I think he played about a week of games and then got hurt, and he has been out for most of the year. On Sunday, Victor Robles was in a rehab assignment game, and he was facing Joey Estes, an athletics minor league pitcher. And it turns out that Estes actually hit Robles 2 more times this season already, or the past couple of years, multiple times already. So on Sunday night, when Robles gets hit on a pitch that's by his face, a fastball to the face, Robles gets pissed off. And obviously, he throws his bat at him. Not something you really see that often in a minor league baseball game. I think the one I can really remember that's kind of similar is Izzy Alcantara, who is also playing minor league baseball. He's a former Red Sox, Brewer, was in the minor leagues, I think it was 2005, and he gets a pitch thrown at him, doesn't even do anything, immediately steps back and kicks the catcher in the face. Catcher goes flying away, and then he goes and charges the mound. Alcantara received a 6-game suspension for that. And so that, kind of to me is a precedent, although it'll be interesting to see how the suspension is applied since he was on a rehab assignment. Does he get a minor league suspension, a major league suspension? I imagine it kind of is an all-encompassing suspension. We'll see, because I think he was supposed to help the Mariners on the stretch run and be that fourth outfielder for them.
I think with the context you just gave, I have a few thoughts on it. Estes should probably get in trouble as well. Hitting someone 3 times and then going at their face is not too far off of a bat throw, in my opinion. And another thing I thought about is the comparable situation I had was when Jose Offerman, a former Red Sox second baseman, when he was in the minor leagues, he attacked a pitcher with a bat, and he straight up got arrested for it. He ended up having to pay $1 million to the pitcher. He lost a lawsuit. And while you would think, okay, Robles is definitely going to learn his lesson, when Offerman was 55 as a manager in the Dominican Republic, he punched an umpire in the face. So clearly there's some anger there. But one thing that really just hit me is that all 3 of these incidents that we just talked about were of major league players who went down to the minor leagues. So while this one was a rehab assignment, maybe these guys are frustrated that they're in the minor leagues. Like, this is pretty unusual level of baseball fighting. In the majors, we see a lot of punches thrown, a lot of hold me back, tough guy stuff, but we rarely see a bat being thrown, a catcher getting kicked in the face. So maybe there's a little bit of a minor league connection here where these guys, they're a little out of their element, they're not with their boys, and the rage kind of grows on them.
I got one example of that real quick that could go with that theory. Miguel Olivo, you remember Miguel Olivo?
Yeah.
I think it was 2014 when he was on the Dodgers. He was in their AAA system, and he actually bit off part of the ear of one of his teammates, Alex Guerrero.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's insane. His teammate. And his name's Miguel, which is Spanish for Mike.
Wow. What is that? Oh, Mike
Tyson.
Yeah, it's important to understand the context here of the shoulder rehab situation and getting hit a number of times. In his Instagram apology, Robles did say getting hit 5 times and 15 at-bats added to that pressure of getting back to form. And I reacted in a way that I'm not proud of. So he did end up apologizing for his behavior. It's also important to note that he did try to rush the mound and was held back. And then as he was walking out, he threw a bucket of sunflower seeds onto the field, and prompting the announcer to say, "It's getting seedy out there."
Honestly, I kind of have his back a little bit. Getting hit 5 times, 15 at bats is absolutely insane. Like, that's got to be. I bet Craig Biggio, who's the most pegged player of all time, I would wonder if that ever happened to him, because that is a very high percentage of at bats to getting pegged ratio.
Yeah, it's got to be really tough on the mental for sure.
And 3 times by that same pitcher, obviously not in that span, but still.
He also is someone who did get hit by pitches a lot with the Nationals, and it did lead to some injuries. So I think that adds a little bit of context to it as well. You know, in 2021, I believe, in 2021, he had 16 hit by pitchers that season.
Jeez, he crowded the plate. So
in 2019, he had 25.
Jesus, what's like the record?
Oh my gosh.
Record for a season?
The record for a game is 6 by a baseball team.
Wow.
51 in 1896.
They definitely just hated that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
1896, huh?
Yeah, Ron Hunt in 1971 got hit 50 times.
Damn.
Okay.
That's a modern record.
Thinking about the possible length of the suspension, there's a few comps. There's not quite a comp for someone picking up a bat and throwing it at the pitcher. Of course, it missed. But in 2006, Delmon Young was suspended 50 games without pay for throwing his bat, and that hit the home plate umpire. And granted, it did hit the umpire.
And that's got to be protected. Like, the umpire union is definitely very strong. And like, hey, you got to, it's like an MTA worker on the subway. If you punch one of those people, the penalty is way stronger than punching a regular citizen on the subway.
Steve's always so tempted to punch the MTA.
Never.
Never.
I respect
those signs
them.
are everywhere.
They're here to protect us and help us.
And then back in 2015, then Washington Nationals outfielder Bryce Harper threw his helmet in the direction of then Giants pitcher Hunter Strickland, following a hit by pitch that was clearly intentional, and then Harper ended up getting suspended for 4 games. So 50 games and 4 games are sort of the context here. You have some added context to this Bryce Harper situation, Johnny?
Yeah, well, so Delmon Young's also a terrible person. We don't have to talk about it on camera, but you could look at the stuff he's done, the hate crimes he's committed. So maybe that added to it because he's just not a good guy. The Bryce Harper one was a little ridiculous. Hunter Strickland threw at Bryce Harper over Bryce Harper watching a home run in the playoffs, or maybe 2 years prior to that. And then in that play also, fun fact about it, it ended Michael Morse's career. I don't know if you remember Michael Morse. He was an outfielder, played for about a decade, played for the Nats and the Giants. Was part of that 2014 World Series team for the Giants. But Jeff Samardzija, who was a tight end in college, wide receiver, was charging the mound and collided with Michael Morse, giving Michael Morse a career-ending concussion.
Sheesh. Career-ending concussion has got to be a really bad one, like brain damage, like straight-up brain damage. On the Bryce Harper thing, I would rather get hit by a helmet than a baseball. Like, it's easy, it's harder to throw. It's not going to go the same velocity. 4 games. I think maybe Robles should if that's 4 and kicking the catcher in the face was 6, I might give him 5. Not going to lie. I think kicking is a little bit worse because, you know, throwing could be a frustration thing, man. He didn't hit the pitcher. It's obviously violent and you got to give him some sort of punishment, but I don't think it's much worse. Dude, kicking in the face, that's so not part of the sport. That's insane.
Yeah.
Steve goes 5 games. Johnny?
I think they're going to be kind of strict about this. I don't think they want players throwing bats just generally. I could see 15 games for this because you look at like the worst fights, they generally get like sometimes upwards to 8 game suspension. But this is like, you know, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous act. It's, you know, it's a bat. It could hurt someone. You don't want to, you know, just write it off. A helmet's not going to really do any damage. But, I mean, you can understand where Robles is coming from in this frustration. But at the same time, you can't allow that to happen.
I agree. It's worse than what Bryce did. Now, in my opinion, not as bad as a kick to the face. But yeah, as just a sport and you're going to make rules, because you do this, you give them a punishment so that nobody else does it again. So you're going to be a little stricter than me, a regular guy, thinking like about, you know, the guy's feelings after getting pegged a lot of times. So I do think they probably will get more than 5, but if I was the commissioner, I would go 5.
Johnny, what's your final verdict here?
15 games.
15 games. I think yes, a bat is definitely a bigger deal than a helmet. You know, people carry baseball bats in their homes in case intruders come in for a reason.
I carry a helmet.
Right, yeah. Bash someone with a helmet. But if the worst fights are getting around 8 games, I feel like 8 games is probably comparable to something like that. So I'll go 8. Well, let us know in the comments how many games you think that Victor Robles should be suspended for. And we'll see you next time.